How did he know my name? The thought refused to leave Tonia's mind, circling her like a shadow even as she smiled politely at the other interns. She was only a week into her internship at Kalu and Company, one of the most powerful firms in the city, and she already felt out of place. Everyone around her wore designer clothes and confidence like armor. She had only her ambition, a few cheap blouses, and a prayer that she wouldn't embarrass herself. That morning she had. Her hands trembled as she carried a heavy stack of files through the glass hallway. One wrong step, and they slipped, scattering across the marble floor. Before she could bend to pick them up, a pair of polished shoes stopped in front of her. A hand, strong, steady, swept in, gathering the papers with surprising ease. When she looked up, she froze. Mr. Kalu. The man whose name carried weight in every boardroom, whose presence made directors stammer. He was taller than she imagined, his broad shoulders framed in an expensive suit. His eyes, sharp, probing, rested on her like she was the only person in the building. "You must be the new intern," he said smoothly, his voice a blend of command and charm. Then his lips curved slightly and he added, "Tonia, right?" Her breath caught. How did he know her name? She hadn't even introduced herself to him yet. Flustered, she muttered a thank you and rushed away, but the question clung to her like perfume. Later in the cafeteria, he passed by her table and paused just long enough to ask if she was settling in. By the end of the day, he somehow remembered her favorite coffee order, sliding it across her desk with a smile. That evening, she called her best friend in excitement. "He's so different, Ada. So attentive. He actually notices me." But Ada's laughter cut sharp through the phone. "Girl, that man is a predator. Nobody remembers that much about someone they just met. Watch yourself." Tonia ignored the warning, hugging her pillow tightly as she drifted to sleep. To her, it wasn't danger. It wasn't obsession. It was love, finally finding her in the most unexpected place. "Who told him I was here?" Tonia's heart hammered against her ribs as the taxi driver's hand gripped her wrist too tightly. She had only wanted to get home after working late, but now she was trapped in the back seat of a car that had suddenly veered into a dark side street. The driver's voice slurred, his intentions obvious, and fear clawed at her throat. She opened her mouth to scream, when blinding headlights cut across the alley. The car door yanked open with violent force. "Let her go." It was him. Mr. Kalu. The driver stammered, releasing her instantly as Kalu's fists clenched like coiled iron. His presence filled the narrow street, towering and commanding. He didn't need to strike. His voice alone was enough to send the man scurrying back behind the wheel. Within seconds, the taxi screeched away, leaving Tonia trembling in the shadows. She barely registered when Kalu placed his jacket over her shoulders and guided her to his sleek black SUV. His cologne wrapped around her, intoxicating, protective. He said nothing at first, just drove silently through the city lights until she found her voice. How did you know where I was?" she whispered. His lips curved faintly, eyes locked on the road. "I told you, Tonia. I'll always protect you." Her chest tightened. The way he said her name, the certainty in his tone, it felt like a vow, like something deeper than simple attraction. By the time he dropped her off at her hostel, pressing a bottle of water into her hands, she couldn't stop replaying the moment in her head. That night, she typed and deleted a dozen messages to him. In the end, she simply whispered into the dark, "Maybe this is what love feels like." But as she slept, she didn't notice the faint glow of her phone. A tracker app pulsed quietly in the background, sending her every movement to the man who promised to keep her safe. The whispers started at the office before Tonia even realized it. Every time she passed through the glass corridors, colleagues lowered their voices, eyes flicking between her and Mr. Kalu. She didn't understand why until the day everything exploded. One of the senior associates made a careless joke during a team meeting, mocking her inexperience. The room chuckled, until Mr. Kalu slammed his palm on the table. His voice cut through the silence like a whip. Apologize. Now. The man stammered, but Kalu's glare didn't waver. Within minutes, security escorted the associate out of the building. Just like that, her tormentor was gone. Tonia sat frozen, pulse racing. He had fired a man for insulting her. Later that afternoon, a bouquet of roses appeared on her desk, each bloom the deepest red. Nestled inside was a note written in neat, deliberate strokes. "No one disrespects what I cherish." Her cheeks burned as the other interns whispered, but she couldn't help the flutter in her chest. Wasn't this what every woman wanted? A man who defended her, who placed her above everyone else. Still, there were moments that unsettled her. At dinner one evening, she opened the menu only for Kalu to gently push it aside. "She'll have the seafood pasta," he told the waiter before she spoke. When she laughed nervously, he smiled and said, "It's your favorite." On another date, he handed her a wrapped box containing a dress. "Wear this," he instructed softly. And when she emerged from the bathroom in it, his approving nod felt like approval she hadn't known she craved. But late at night, lying in bed, she replayed it all in her head and felt a small knot tighten in her stomach. Why did his love feel so heavy? Why did every act of devotion feel like it was tethered to invisible strings? Her friends noticed first. "Tonia, you're glowing, yes. But don't you see? He's not loving you, he's controlling you." She dismissed them with a smile, but deep down, the words lodged in her heart like a thorn she couldn't pull out. "You weren't supposed to be here." The words slipped from Mr. Kalu's mouth before he could stop himself, and they froze Tonia to the bone. It was supposed to be a simple surprise. She had decided, for the first time, to visit his home unannounced. She wanted to see the man outside the tailored suits and office walls. But when the housekeeper let her in and guided her to the dining area, she stumbled upon something that made her stomach twist. The table was set. 2 plates, her favorite meal steaming on the porcelain dishes, a bottle of wine she had once casually mentioned liking, and soft music humming in the background. Not just any music. Her favorite artist. The room smelled faintly of lavender, the exact fragrance of her body spray. It was too perfect, too precise. When Kalu entered and found her standing there, he paused, startled. Then he muttered those words. "You weren't supposed to be here." His expression shifted quickly, smoothing into a practiced smile. I wanted it to be a surprise for you tonight. That's all." But Tonia's chest tightened. How could he have known she would come today? How could he have planned her favorite things so meticulously, as if he could predict her every step? She forced a smile, sitting at the table as he poured her wine, but her mind spun. At dinner, he spoke about her family, details she had never shared. He mentioned her mother's boutique, her father's debts, her little brother's school. When she frowned, asking how he knew all that, he leaned forward, eyes intense. "I pay attention to everything about you, Tonia. That's what love is." The words should have been sweet. Instead, they sank into her skin like ice. Later that night, as she lay in bed replaying his tone, she asked herself a question that sent a shiver down her spine. If this is love, why does it feel like surveillance? Tonia's scream echoed through her small apartment as the truth stared back at her in the form of a tiny blinking red light. She had been cleaning when her hand brushed against the side of her desk lamp. Something clicked loose, and curiosity made her twist the cover open. What she found wasn't dust or a faulty bulb. It was a hidden camera. Her chest tightened. Her breath came short. Heart pounding, she tore through the room, panic driving her. The mirror above her dresser, another faint red dot. The wall clock, wired strangely at the back. Even the little figurine her mystery admirer had once gifted her, its eyes were lenses. By the time she dropped to the floor, her hands were shaking. She felt exposed, stripped of privacy, as though every smile, every tear, every shower had been stolen and watched by someone else. Her phone buzzed on the floor beside her. She picked it up with trembling fingers and noticed something strange. An app she had never downloaded. It ran silently in the background, tracking her location, her calls, even her messages. And the name hidden in the code chilled her. Kalu-01. She wanted to throw up. That night she couldn't sleep. Every shadow in her room felt like his gaze. Every sound made her jump. By morning, her mind raced between denial and dread. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe someone else was behind it. Maybe. But deep down she knew. The way he always knew where to find her. The way he appeared right when she needed saving. The way he finished her sentences as if he'd rehearsed them. It wasn't fate. It wasn't romance. It was surveillance disguised as love. And for the first time since she met him, Tonia felt something stronger than attraction. Fear. I didn't stalk you, Tonia. I built love for us. The words slipped from his lips so calmly, so matter-of-fact, that Tonia almost doubted she'd heard them right. She had stormed into his office that evening, clutching the lamp camera in her shaking hands. Her voice trembled as she threw it on his desk. What is this, Kalu? Why are you watching me? Why do you have an app on my phone? He didn't even flinch. Instead, he leaned back in his leather chair, eyes locked on hers, lips curling into a smile that chilled her blood. Because I couldn't leave your safety to chance. Do you know how many men out there would hurt you if I wasn't watching? Her voice cracked. You planted people, didn't you? Taxi driver. Those street boys. Even, she stopped, her chest tightening. Even that guy in the office who tried to flirt with me. He stood slowly, circling the desk. His presence filled the room, heavy and suffocating. Of course I did. Every danger you faced was mine to control. I couldn't risk losing you to randomness. So I created the danger. And then I destroyed it. To show you how much you mean to me. Tonia's knees wobbled. The floor beneath her felt like it was tilting. That's not love, that's madness. But he only smiled, brushing a finger along her jaw. No, my dear. That's devotion. I've studied you, protected you, built an entire world where you'll never have to doubt my place in it. You should thank me. Tonia jerked back, disgust and fear twisting inside her. But his hand lingered in the air. His voice softening to a whisper that felt more dangerous than a shout. I didn't stalk you, Tonia. I built love for us. The room spun. And in that instant, she realized the horrifying truth. She was never rescued. She was never chosen. She was trapped in a performance, one carefully scripted by a man whose obsession wore the mask of love. Why do I look like her? The question escaped Tonia's lips as her trembling fingers brushed the edges of a photograph she wasn't meant to find. It happened the night she returned to his house, pretending she believed his version of love. She smiled through dinner, laughed at his jokes, even let him brush a strand of hair from her face. All the while, her heart pounded with a single plan. Find proof, something undeniable, and then run. When he stepped out to take a call, she slipped into his study. The room smelled of leather and old books, but what caught her eye was the wall of shelves lined with files, boxes, and framed photographs. She scanned quickly until one frame nearly stopped her heart. A young woman stared back at her, smiling in frozen time. Her face was hauntingly familiar. Same dark eyes, same full lips, even the same dimple that appeared when she smiled. It was like staring at her own reflection, but older, distant, ghostly. On the back of the photograph in Mr. Kalu's handwriting were the words, "Forever mine. Always." Her knees buckled. She dropped the frame, the glass cracking against the carpet. And that's when his voice filled the room. She was the first. Tonia spun around, heart racing, to find him leaning against the doorframe. His expression wasn't angry. It was nostalgic, almost tender. Her name was Amara. She loved me once, but she didn't understand me. She thought what we had was too much. She left. His eyes darkened. But no one leaves me. Not really. I made sure of that. Tonia's blood ran cold. Made sure. The words echoed with a finality that told her more than he admitted. Amara hadn't just left. She had vanished. Just like the whispers she once overheard at the firm about a girl no one spoke of anymore. And then, he continued, stepping closer, you appeared. The same smile, the same fire in your eyes. Do you think that was an accident? No, Tonia. You were meant to finish what she started. Be mine. Forever. Her breath came in short. He reached out, his voice turning soft, almost pleading. Don't fight it. You were born to replace her. For the first time, the truth cut deeper than any of his surveillance, deeper than any staged rescue. She wasn't loved. She was a shadow. Copy. A replacement in a love story that began long before she even knew his name. This isn't a cage. It's where love keeps you safe. The locks clicked behind her like the final notes of a song she never wanted to hear. Tonia spun, tugging at the door handles until her palms stung, but the penthouse entrance didn't budge. The room itself was breathtaking. Marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows showing the glittering skyline, closets lined with expensive clothes, jewelry boxes overflowing with diamonds. Everything gleamed with excess, as though she had been crowned queen in a kingdom built for one. But the cameras in every corner told the truth. This wasn't luxury. It was captivity. Her chest heaved. Let me out, Kalu. This isn't love. This is prison. He stepped forward calmly, hands in his pockets, eyes fixed on her like she was a painting he'd finally completed. A prison. He chuckled softly. Look around, Tonia. You have everything you could ever want. The finest dresses, the best food, a man who would kill for you. Do you know how many women would beg for this life? I'm not them, she shouted, tears burning her cheeks. I want freedom, not chains dressed in diamonds. But his face softened, almost heartbreakingly. He touched her cheek gently, and for a terrifying moment, she felt the warmth of his hand and the sincerity in his eyes. You still don't see it, do you? He whispered. Freedom only makes people run away. I can't let that happen again. Not with you. I lost Amara and it broke me. But you. His thumb brushed her lips, his voice trembling with devotion. You are my second chance. And I'll never lose you. Not even if it means you hate me. The words lodged in her throat like stones. Her body screamed to fight, to run, to scream louder, but her mind betrayed her. Because even in her terror, she couldn't shake the memory of how it felt when he shielded her. How intoxicating it was to be the center of someone's entire world. The door behind her remained locked, but something else rattled inside her. The fear that part of her might begin to believe him. Outside the glass windows, the city buzzed with life, unaware that high above, a girl was learning the darkest truth of all. Sometimes obsession doesn't steal your freedom in chains. Sometimes it smothers you in roses and whispers that sound like love.